Hi, I'm Rhonda from Tacoma Public Library. We're on a quest to build a better resume. If you're new to our series, welcome. I hope that you get a lot out of this, and I hope that you'll head over to the Tacoma Public Library's YouTube channel to view the other videos in the series. What we're doing with the series is we're breaking down the whole process of putting a resume together. We're breaking it down into bite-sized chunks, just bite-size, because we don't want this process to be too overwhelming. We are going to take a look today at formats, but first of all, if you are new to the idea of resumes, you might have a lot of questions like, what is a resume? What types of information should I put on it? Should I put on everything that I've ever done in my work life? How do I arrange it on the page? Questions like that. Those are great questions to have. We have addressed what is a resume in a different video, and I hope you'll take a look for that. So today we are talking about how is your information best arranged on the page. And when we talk about that, we're talking about format or layout or the organization of your resume. If you're brand new, that may not make a lot of sense to you, but stay with it. With the information that follows, I think it'll become really clear. If you are familiar with resumes, then you might be familiar with a format or layout called reverse chronological order. That's a really popular style that's been used for a long time, and it's still very popular. We'll take a look at that, but we'll also take a look at a couple other options. And you might surprise yourself, depending on your circumstances, that one of those might work just as well for you. So let's get started.
Let's take a look at the resume formats. The reverse chronological format is the traditional style most people use and is still most popular. It's the format that lists jobs first in reverse order. It's used when applying to a job in which you already have experience, and it's used when there are no major gaps in work history. The functional format has gained in popularity in recent years. It's the style that lists skills first and then work history. It's used when a person may be changing careers or may have little actual work experience. It can be used if there are gaps in work history or a person has changed jobs frequently. It's a great format to use by folks who have a lot of skills and abilities, but don't have the actual job positions to tie those skills to. Perhaps they picked up things through school or learned things via volunteer positions or through hobbies. So for that reason, the functional format can be a great one for people to focus on using. Now, this format does come with a warning, which is that some hiring managers will recognize that the format's being used to hide problems in a person's work history. And so for that reason, we just recommend using caution and try not to hide problems you may perceive you have in your own work history, and instead find ways that you can de-emphasize them through the styles that you choose to use in your format. Here we'll take a look at a couple of templates for these two styles. On the left we have chronological. After the header we see the heading for work history, and notice that the first listing for work history encourages us to list the most recent employer. This is the standard for this style. And then there's more room for extra work history entries. And then this area is followed by education. This is a very standard format for most folks to use. On the right side is the functional style, and after the header, this style looks very different from the chronological. Instead of emphasizing work history, we have space for skill set areas. These skill sets would be broad categories of abilities a person has. And really what we're doing is we're looking at the job listing to identify what are the skill sets we should identify here. So on the next slide, we'll take a look at an actual resume for this to give you an idea what types of skill sets you might consider focusing on. But for now, with each skill set area, a person would identify some examples to demonstrate their abilities in that area. After this section, we move down to work history. Notice it's very abbreviated. We're only listing the employer, title, and dates. No need to list duties on the job because we've listed those things up above in a more general manner. And then this area is followed by education. Now we're looking at those same templates, but with filled in detail. On the left with chronological, Jane Smith has her heading, and then we launch into the work history. Notice her first position listed is Fred Meyer. She's a cashier, and she's been working there since 2019. The open dash indicates she's still working there. This entry is going to be written in the present tense because these are job duties she's still doing. And then the two positions that follow will be written in the past tense. And then education, of course, follows. On the right side with the functional style, John Smith has his heading, and then he's got listed those skill sets we looked at on the previous slide. And they're in bold, and they're cash handling, communication, customer service. He would have identified these categories by looking at the job listing and deciding what he thinks that employer is most interested in seeing from people applying to the positions, or what are those most important skills that they need from the person they're hiring. So he's identified these three broad categories, and within each category, he's identified different examples of his abilities to support his knowledge and ability to the job he's applying to. Below that, we have work history, again, very abbreviated, and then education. It might be easy to understand why John Smith has used the functional style if we look at the dates for his employment. The self-employed landscaper position shows he worked from 2015 to 2016, and then in 2018 to 2019, he was a server at Denny's restaurant. We don't know what he was doing in 2017. And then in 2020, he's working as a cashier at Target. So it looks like there are some gaps in his history for working, and the functional style allows him to de-emphasize that by placing it a little bit further down the page and emphasizing all those things that he does know how to do and he is capable of up further. We're taking a look now at something called a combination style resume. This is great because it uses a little of the chronological style and a little of the functional style formats. A person would create a short list of their best skills that they want highlighted at the top of the page. And this is what the reader or hiring manager will see first and will form a great first impression before launching down into what looks like a traditional chronological style resume. This is great for the person who may have some issues in their work history because it looks like they are using that traditional chronological style resume. What they're really doing is they're just de-emphasizing some issues without actually hiding them. This is a highly successful resume format for folks to use. Tacoma Public Library can help you with your job search and your resume. You can meet with a librarian virtually to discuss your resume and receive guidance. The library is using Zoom software to meet with patrons online. You might also try one of the library's free resources. Job Now can be used to get free resume feedback from a professional job coach within a business day. And lynda.com has a great collection of free videos that you can watch to improve skills in a wide range of topics. On the right side, I've listed a really great video course that runs at just about 2 hours. It's called Resume Makeover with Jenny Foss. I highly recommend it. You can find both of these databases on the library's website at tacomalibrary.org. You can use them for free with the Tacoma Library Card. If you don't have a library card yet, scroll to the bottom of any of the library's web pages and click on Get a Library Card. Both of the databases can be found if you click on Online Library and then click on Computer and Job Skills. On that next page, they'll be grouped next to each other. Both databases are free and easy to use. If you have questions, I hope you'll reach out to me by email. I can be found at rkristof@tacomalibrary.org. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you'll look for more videos in our resume series. These and more videos from our Tacoma librarians can be found on the Tacoma Public Library's YouTube channel.